Pep 3 trebles. No one else. Listen,
Is it
we,
two?
so is he done 2 or 3? Pep.
Barcelona did a treble, didn't he? I'm sure.
Yeah, he did one with Barca in
2009
and
two
this
trebles.
One.
Two.
Oh, yeah.
Barca has a second treble, but they have it with Enrique. They didn't have it with Pep.
Okay, sorry. In terms of this super chat, where there's this super chat here, and then there's this one from Sesko. So we're going to get on some real serious debate now. This one here says, Pep's the greatest manager ever, changed football forever. History will forever remember the Pep's ways and philosophies. That's the difference between, I mean, he took my Fergie. I'm taking Fergie out of this conversation for a minute because it muddies the waters in people's minds. It certainly muddies mine because people will talk about Fergie in 200 years as well. Where do you guys rank Pep now? 2 trebles, 3 Champions Leagues. And I want to praise Pep, by the way, because Pep Guardiola was ridiculously criticized for years. Fraudiola, checkbook manager, can only win the Champions League with Messi. He's now got 3 Champions Leagues, dominated England for the last 7 years, does his second treble in his career. He's still only in his early 50s. He has records for days. I think he's got the second or third most amount of trophies ever for a manager. Where does he rank? I'm going to go to Don first in this question. Overall now for you in terms of managers.
I would say in the modern era, what I've seen a lot of, because obviously Sir Alex was there before my time. I'll say in the modern era, this is the greatest coach that I've seen. I'd say Sir Alex was a better manager, but in terms of actually the coaching ability and that Barcelona team that I saw, man, I know they had the greatest player that we've arguably seen. I think for me, Messi's the GOAT, but you still had to make that work. You know, that tiki-taka football, how they used to just kill teams, 70% possession, 60% possession, just the intricate play. For me, in this era, I would say he's the greatest, but I'm not going to put down Sir Alex because the longevity on that side is a bit mad. I have to respect it. But in this modern era, what I've seen a lot of, I would say Pep is the greatest coach that I've seen ever.
Excluding Fergie, he's number 1. And it's not just about, because people always reference the tiki-taka football with Barcelona. And it was amazing. Like you say, Terry, for you it was boring because it's that good. Like no one can compete with it. But I honestly believe that this Pep system that is developed now is probably his best system. I think it is. And for someone to go from playing tiki-taka football and being known for that to go into Germany and dominating that league, and then go into England and dominate this league, and then create a system such as this where it can basically do everything in a football game. Because today they were defending. There's large parts of this game where they're defending. Were the Barcelona team able to do that? You could say keeping the ball so much is greater, but I think being able to do keep ball, then defend, then counter, then go to possession again, all within a game, I think is better. And I think he's developed one of the best systems we'll probably ever see in football. He has to be number 1. He has to be number 1.
This formation today, 3-2-4-1. Like, I'm seeing some crazy formations that is putting out there. I'm seeing John Stones playing like an agile. John Stones today, by the way, like, I know we're talking about Pep right now, but this is a different player, man. What a player.
Mate, he's brilliant. Brandon, your view on this question?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's second to Alex Ferguson and only Alex Ferguson. But I also believe that Pep Guardiola will go on to surpass Sir Alex Ferguson's achievements because, you know, like you said, he's in his early 50s. He's got plenty of time left in the game. He's a quality manager. And not only that, not just in terms of his team and the players and everything else, he's changed the way the Premier League football's played. Let's not forget, no team was playing out of the back until Pep Guardiola came into the league. And now all of a sudden, every single team wants to play out of the back, build from the back, keep the possession and start attacks from your defence, from your goalkeeper. So he's kind of changed football in that way as well. So, yeah, huge respect to Pep Guardiola, you know, top manager.
I will say this. Let's move this across. Fergie is still the GOAT in my opinion. But I mean, I'll never take anything away from Pep. As I've said at the top of this, the Fraudiola comments, the checkbook manager, can't win without Messi. I brush this nonsense aside. Of course, I have a slight bias. I'm a Man United fan. But my reasonings for picking Fergie, the longevity, yes. The amount of teams he rebuilt at one club. Pep himself has just said, I don't know how a man can do that, not taking breaks and going to new places. But actually what he achieved at Aberdeen prior, a tiny club, and took over, broke the Glasgow dominance in Scotland, beat Real Madrid in a European Cup final with a team that had no business being there. The way he built Man United from the ashes, we were a fallen giant when he came in. Those elements of Fergie matter a lot to me. People talk about things Pep's done in the game. Rotation of teams is a Fergie invention. Fergie was playing false nines in the Champions League in the early 90s before the phrase false nine, 20 years before the phrase false nine even existed. So he's done a lot of things tactically. People talk about playing out from the back. I'll send you some clips later, Brandon, of Man United's team in the 90s and how often we played through the back and our defenders came up with the ball. Not to the degree that Pep does it with, but football evolves. Fergie had great footballing teams from the start. But when it comes to Pep is second, in my opinion, to him. But I agree with Brandon. And I hate saying this. I think Pep will surpass him. Even with the Aberdeen comments, even with how he built Man United, that stuff is massive. But I've got a feeling Pep's going to end his career with potentially there'll be a gulf in total trophies. And I will not become a hypocrite and say, well, yeah, he's got 20 extra trophies, but because of what he did with Aberdeen, it outweighs it. This guy could manage for another 15 to 20 years. And in that time, he could pick up another 10 to 15 league titles, 2, 3, 4 Champions Leagues. And I think he will, unless he loses the hunger for it and leaves City in 3 years and retires completely. I just don't see how he doesn't end his career with more Champions Leagues, more major league titles, more domestic trophies than Sir Alex Ferguson. And my love for Fergie will never wane. Fergie will always be my favorite manager, but we have to be fair and consistent. If he has more major trophies, he's better. He's better. And we can't argue that. This man is a genius. This man is amazing. What I won't do, by the way, like others do, is some will slag off Fergie to pump up Pep. That doesn't need to happen. You don't need to slag off Fergie to praise Pep, because they should both be respected in the same breath. But the man is just, what is he, 52, 53?
Yeah, he's actually generational.
He's younger, by the way. He's younger than Eric Ten Hag, but Eric Ten Hag looks as an up-and-coming manager. It's mad how good.
Do you know what, Terry, as well?
He's
when he starts doing his international career as well, because at some point he will do his international career as well, right? So when he adds like a European and a World Cup onto that, do you know what I mean? He's going to be goated. So it's something you can see. He's the future GOAT. Obviously, at the moment, Fergie's clear, but you can see that. But I do want to give a shout to Bob Paisley as well, because the things he did at Liverpool, obviously due to his ill health, obviously he couldn't continue it, but he won, in the short time he was there, he won 6 league titles. He did 4 of them in a row. He won 3 Champions Leagues in that time as well. He won a UEFA Cup. So do you know what I mean? So I appreciate in a modern era, it's obviously between Fergie and obviously Pep. But I have to give a shout to Paisley. In the short time of his career, because of ill health, at Liverpool, what he did was unprecedented at the time. In that short period, how much he actually won, and proper titles, not, Carabao Cups or...
He gets a lot of respect. I don't think he won 4 on the bounce. He did 2 on the bounce a year out and then 2 on the bounce again. I think he did 4.
No, he won, I think, 4 altogether. I think he went up to... I'm just checking the Wikipedia on that.
No, he won 6. He won it in 76, 77, and then he won it in 79, 80, and then 82, 83.
79, 80, then 81, 82, 82, 83.
No, he didn't win the first division in 81.
Oh, okay. So Wikipedia's wrong then. But...
Yeah, we're splitting hairs here. The man was great as well. And I think, that's when you get into those debates whether that short-term intensity of winning all those trophies in such a short space of time, is that better than 25 years of more success? That's an interesting debate. And I think it one that deserves to be had. But it's very hard when you're judging Paisley, because no one on this panel watched him, really. Even you, Zane, you're old.
No, of course not. No, of course not.
You're too young to remember. So that's why I like to kind of ring fence eras. And that's why Fergie's hard, because that bastard managed for so long. Young people remember him. But I've heard people phone into TalkSport in this last month and go, but what did he do outside of Manchester? And the TalkSport pundits should lose their jobs because they say, yeah, you're right, nothing. And I'm like, you're a professional sports host. and you have no idea what Fergie did before Manchester. It's personally crazy to me. Brandon.
Yeah, just on City's treble, by the way. I've got a few stats here, right?
Hang on, we're going to come to the treble in a little bit, bro. We'll come to the treble in a minute and talk about that.
I do want to just say, Pep is actually the definition of generational.
Yes.
Like he is. Like we love to throw that word around for players and all of these things, but if you want to talk about generational talent, the man was a young coach when he came into Barcelona. He was a young coach.
He's coaching the B team.
He had the B team, coming to the first team, dominated. Gone to Germany, dominated. Come over here, dominated. The way that nearly every player, I know there's some players that are not a fan of him, but nearly every player, thank God for the fact that they've got to be coached underneath him, because the way that they've improved, he's not just had the best players in the world. He's improved average players into better players. He's improved good players into world-class players. And when he gets world-class players, he maintains their level. So many managers have had world-class players and they don't work out. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work.
KJ,
this guy is able to
KJ,
improve.
this is the thing though. City fans say it all the time. They say it that we know that there's going to be a natural drop-off when Pep leaves. And a lot of them, you know, they're looking at that day and they're a bit frightened because they don't know what's going to come from it. We don't know what next manager is going to come in. So, yeah, you're right when you say generational, because there's no one that can replace Pep. There's no one. I know you said the same thing about Aguero. They've got Haaland now. But when it comes to him, there's nobody at that level.
There is. But what he's doing now is he is now. That's why he doesn't have a big squad. He's now got hybrid players that can play multiple positions now. We see it with John Stones this season. He's played centre back, right back, centre midfield. Nathan Ake's played left back. He even played Bernardo Silva sometimes at left back. That's what he's doing now. He played Fabian Delph at a left back in the Centurion season and made him a competent left back. This is what he's done. Okay. Now
I won the league with KDB as a 9.
You're going to see it. KDB went out, and it didn't really matter that much.
This is what the goats do, though. The Peps and the Fergies. I'm sure the Paisleys did this. I know Clough did this. Fergie was winning Premier Leagues with John O'Shea playing as a DM.
Didn't he play Phil Jones in midfield as well?
Yeah,
yes,
boy.
Phil Jones.
He did. I remember that. And Darren Fletcher at centre back, I'm sure.
And this is what those great managers can do. And that's why when I look at Pep, I don't like the criticism that he gets, because I see so many similarities there. Dan Laguna here says, my opinion, Pep is the greatest now, as he has done everything, but Sir Alex Ferguson is Sir Alex Ferguson is the better. They beat a better Arsenal team to the Prem, and look up the teams United beat in the Champions League. And I think that kind of, when you look at this City treble, all trebles are outstanding. Barca's, Inter's, Man United's, Bayern's. The Premier League ones, I think we obviously look at them with a bit more bias because we know how good our leagues are. We know how tough they are. Like, where does this rank in terms of overall trebles? I want to go to Ben first on this one. Where does this rank overall for you in terms of trebles?
Well, obviously, I'm only 25 as well, so I don't remember United's. I was only a little kid. But yeah, no, this is the best team that we've seen, and this is why I just tonight I have been bitter. I have been one of those people that I've hated Pep, I've hated City, I've hated every bit of it. That's because I love my club so much, and this hurts because I know now they're gonna go on to make it 2, then make it 3. I know what's gonna come next, and I hope. And I put this on Twitter earlier. Now he's won it. I hope he just, you know what? What else is there for me to do now? And I hope he goes tomorrow. That's what I hope. Look, you have to say, yeah, okay, he's had the money. He's done all of that. Brilliant. I remember using the same logic with Eddie Howe for Joe Linton in midfield. You can't buy those changes. Putting John Stones into midfield, letting him run the show. And you know what? I'll just say how I said it just then. I hope he leaves City tomorrow. I hope tomorrow I wake up to Pep Guardiola resigns and he's gone to Barcelona or something like that, because this is scary now. This is scary. They've won what, 4 or 5 in the last 6, or I don't know what the numbers are. I'm past Kieran now.
5 and 7. 5 and 7.
Yeah.
We can't miss that first year where he didn't win it. Like, I love how people take that first year off. They take that first year off. But no, listen, they are sensational. They are sensational. It's a super.